I'm Kiosha.
And I'm Shane, and this is the Happiest Mouse podcast. On today's episode, episode 9, we're going to be discussing our experience with Disney Genie Plus at Walt Disney World and Disneyland, and kind of just talk about what we did, how we experienced it, and how we think the two compare to each other and what the differences are.
So we first used Genie Plus at Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World. And I will say, in this park, I felt like it was useful to us. We were able to use it to get on a lot of rides, I thought. What do you think, Shane?
Yeah, so when we went in November, it was our very first time at Disney World. If you're new to the channel, you're welcome. Consider subscribing. Hit that thumbs up button. We're here on YouTube. If you're listening to us on Spotify or another podcasting app, thanks for listening. Please leave us a rating and review as well. But yeah, our first trip to Walt Disney World was in November of last year. So we went Thanksgiving week, and we grew up going to Disneyland. Mm-hmm. So it was our first time going to Disney World. And obviously, Disney Genie Plus was new, still is kind of new, all things considered. We did go to all 4 parks. Mm-hmm. We did buy Genie Plus every day for this trip, and we bought it the morning of, so we didn't include it as part of our purchase because at Disney World it's $15 a day, and you can purchase it in advance with your tickets, or you can purchase it the day of when you go to that park. And so that's what we did because we weren't sure if we were going to use it or not, so we wanted to wait until we got there, and we decided to go ahead and purchase them every day. And so our first day at the parks was in Magic Kingdom. We started there, and overall, using it at Magic Kingdom, it went really well for us. It was Thanksgiving week. It was very busy. Mm-hmm. I don't remember how many rides we were able to get on, but we were able to do
a lot.
Mm-hmm. I think the longest we waited was maybe 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. Because when we first started in the morning, we went on a couple rides that was not Genie Plus.
Right.
Because we booked, I think Splash Mountain was our first Genie Plus ride. We had booked that for like 10:30 or so. Yeah. So we went and did Little Mermaid first, then we went and did It's a Small World, and then from there we made our way over to Splash Mountain. And so, in Little Mermaid was pretty much a walk-on. It was like 10 minutes. It's a Small World, we waited maybe 25 minutes.
Yeah.
So not too bad, but for first thing in the morning, it was pretty busy. And then, so we did Splash Mountain, and then, what did we do after?
What did we do after? I know it's one point we went to the Aladdin Magic Carpet rides. Was that right after that?
No, I think that was a different day.
That was a different day.
I think that's when we went back. Anyway, yeah. We really enjoyed using Genie Plus at Magic Kingdom. Mm-hmm. I feel out of the 4 parks in Walt Disney World, that's where you're going to find your most benefit. Now, they're based on different experiences and different interactions. I've been talking to different people on our social medias like Twitter. You can follow us there at @Happiest Mouse, _Happiest Mouse. And this is more, I guess, towards Disneyland. We'll get to that in a little bit. But it's really going to depend on what time of year you go, I think. I felt like we were really able to utilize Disney Genie Plus. Now, we didn't pay for any extra lightning lanes because at the time, it was each park had 2. So for for Magic Kingdom, it was Space Mountain and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Well, we ended up going to Space Mountain at one point during the day because we saw the wait time was low. But by the time we got there, the line was long. Yeah. But we waited in it. We waited in that line for
over an hour.
Probably close to an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And that was rough.
But can I just add that Space Mountain is awesome, and it's even better so if you compare the two, Space Mountain at Disney World and Space Mountain at Disneyland, I really think Space Mountain at Disney World is a better ride. I don't know if it's faster, I don't know, but we really enjoyed Space Mountain. It's not worth an hour and a half wait, but because it was awesome, it kind of made up for it.
Yeah. So I think I would be okay waiting for that long if I knew I was waiting for that long. But if you're someone who goes to the parks frequently, you're not going to wait an hour and a half.
No.
That was our first time at Disney World. Even though we've been on Space Mountain at Disneyland, it's a different track.
Yeah.
It's just a different ride. And the one at Disney World is better.
It's better.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one that I would consider in the future. I would probably pay the Lightning Lane fee to ride on Space Mountain. But that's because it's my favorite. So
yeah. And then at the other parks, so the next day we went to Hollywood Studios. I would say at that park it's almost not worth it, especially if it's super busy. And I think mainly because there's not as many attractions, and so we looked at doing it. And actually, well, we had bought it that morning, but we weren't able to use it because anything that we wanted was going to be in the evening. We were park hopping that day. So if you're going to stay in the park, I think that's probably if you're going to stay in one park all day, or even if you're going to park hop, just if you know that going in and you're going to get Genie Plus, especially on a busy day, I think what my suggestion would be, what my strategy would be, is to, I'm going to go into whatever my first park is going to be, knowing that if it's specifically Hollywood Studios, let's just say that, knowing I'm probably not going to get any Genie Plus ride attractions, unless you're staying on property. If you're staying on property, you can probably get some. If you're staying off property, it's going to be almost impossible to get anything in the morning. So if you know that going in, and then once you get in, you start making reservations for the afternoon, specifically if you're going to stay in that park or maybe later if you're going to park hop. I think that might be your best strategy because you can get a new one every 2 hours, right? And so from there, you can start stacking, right, back to back to back. So once you park hop, or let's say you take a break and you go back to the same, Hollywood Studios in the afternoon or whatever you're going to do, you might have to wait for some lines in the morning. But generally, if you rope drop, you're still going to be able to get a little bit ahead of the crowds and save some time in the standby lines. But yeah, I was so surprised at how Hollywood Studios, how busy it was. And then I think we mentioned this in a previous podcast episode as well. We later found out that had been the busiest day for Hollywood Studios that year. I mean, since the parks had reopened.
And of course we were there.
And of course we were there, right? I mean, we still had a good time. I enjoyed Hollywood Studios. But I just think it's not worth it for Genie Plus, in my opinion.
To be fair, we did also have reservations to make lightsabers, so that might have also skewed our Genie Plus results or experience. But it didn't seem worth it to me for that park either.
And actually, now that I think about it, I take that back. We were able to get one ride out of Genie Plus, which was Smuggler's Run.
Oh,
the Millennium Falcon ride, Smuggler's Run. Because I think we rode that after we built our lightsabers. Because remember, we took our lightsabers on the ride with us.
Yes.
And so we were able to get that. So I think we made our lightsabers. I think our reservation was noon or 11:30.
Yeah, 11:45 or noon, something like that.
And so I think I must have got the Millennium Falcon reservation, Smuggler's Run, for 12:30 or something. I can't remember. Yeah. But once we rode that, we were kind of done for the day. But we already knew that was our plan, right? Because we didn't want to carry the lightsabers around all day. So we were like, okay, let's make them in the middle of the day, and we can go back to our hotel, drop off the lightsabers, and then go to another park in the afternoon. But I don't know. That's tough. And we haven't been to Hollywood Studios when it's not as crowded, so maybe it's more worth it. Maybe it makes more sense. Let us know in the comments below if you think Hollywood Studios is worth getting the Genie Plus, when it's not busy. Now, they also have just regular Genie, right, which you don't have to pay for. You can go in, put your favorites, kind of what you want to do, and it'll help plan your day. I don't know if anyone's really using that, to be honest. Maybe if you're brand new to the parks and you don't know really what to do, maybe. But when I saw that, the suggestions on there never seemed to really be what we would want to do. It was more directing you towards, this has a short line. Why don't you go over here? you know, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know, but they're trying to direct crowds where they want them to go versus where they think they should go, you know, where the people want to go, if that makes any sense. I guess the next park is Epcot. That one is really hard for us to judge because we didn't spend very long in Epcot. So once we're going to be going here again, I don't know if we're going to get Genie Plus again, only because we're going mainly for the festival.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if we're going to have time to ride a bunch of rides. You know, we were going to go on a few that we didn't get to last time, Test Track, but I think we might do single rider for that. Although I hear the queue is pretty cool because you get to build, kind of design your car, right? So we might need to do it just for the experience. Yeah. But that's neither here nor there. We can discuss that at another time.
And also, too, for our future trip, the one ride that we didn't get to ride on because at the time it was virtual queue was the Ratatouille ride. But that is a paid lightning lane, so we might just pay for that ride. But again, it depends on if we're even going to be able to get that because we are not staying on property. If you stay on property, then you can get them at 7. If you're off property, you can get the lightning lanes at 9. So we just have to see how that goes for our next trip. But
I wonder if it'll be earlier now because right now they're opening Epcot at 8:30, right?
Right.
Yeah, so
maybe it'll be earlier.
Maybe it'll be earlier. We'll see. We'll see. We'll report back. We're going to be trying doing some vlogs on our next trip. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel, hit that bell notification, so that way you can see how we enjoyed our upcoming trip.
Yeah. So, and then on the next day, we did go to Animal Kingdom. And this one, we really tried to get a lightning lane for the Pandora ride. I think it's Savi's Journey or Flight of Passage.
Flight of Passage.
It's Flight of Passage.
Well, I think that one there, it was a paid lightning lane. Yeah.
And we couldn't get it. But we did use it for Everest.
That one was paid though too.
Oh, it was paid.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one, I think it was only $7.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just paid for it.
I thought that was worth it. I don't really like the ride, but that's a separate conversation. But I thought it was worth it to skip the line because the line was really long.
Yeah. And if I'm remembering correctly, I don't think I actually purchased Genie Plus that morning because I was like, well, it wasn't that many rides we wanted to do. We kind of just wanted to go check it out. You know, we did
the safari.
The safari, thank you. Which, you know, you just
it's awesome.
Yeah, we rope dropped that. We were gonna rope drop Flight of Passage, but we got there a little too late. Yeah. And the wait was already over 2 hours, and we were like, there's no point. Yeah. I don't want to wait in a line that long, and so we went to the safari, and then we did a few things after, and so I think that's why we ended up buying Everest, because I was like, well, I didn't buy Genie Plus yet, and I think we weren't really sure what we were going to do in the afternoon. We knew we were going to park hop, but we weren't sure which park we were going to yet. Right. And so we ended up just buying the tickets for I think it was $7 each for Lightning Lane for Everest, and you know we did a whole what we felt on that. So if you want to know what we felt on that ride, go ahead and check out our podcast episode. I don't think we have that up here on YouTube, but it's going to be on Spotify or another podcasting app. Look for our Walt Disney World review, part 2, I think it was. But check that out. I'll try to put a link in the description below if I remember as well, to see what our opinions were of that ride. Overall it was okay. I'll just say that much. And then what else did we do? We didn't do a lot because we kind of just walked around because it was our first time. So, and it was so busy, right? So busy. Thanksgiving Day was so busy. Thanksgiving weekend rather, so busy. So, we did a couple things. We went and drew art at the animation studios.
Which is amazing.
Which is fun.
Which is fun, even if you don't know how to draw, or you're not really interested in drawing. It is actually really fun, and they teach you step by step. So I like art. I like drawing. Shane does not, but he actually enjoyed it too. They basically lay it out for you. It's just 30 minutes. It's so fun. So they have it at Disneyland and at Disney World at Animal Kingdom and then at DCA. So if you're in the parks, I can't even tell you. You should really just check it out.
And what's nice is every time slot they have a different drawing, different characters. So I mean, if you really enjoy it, you could do multiples back to back.
Shane won't let me do multiples because he wants to do other things.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing, because Magic Kingdom is the most like Disneyland,
Mm-hmm.
so we kind of had a good feel for the parks, even though it was slightly laid out just slightly differently. But I think trying to learn a new park, also using Disney, not Disney Plus, Genie Plus,
Genie Plus.
for the first time, trying to learn both, it was kind of hard to really give a good gauge on it.
Mm-hmm.
When we're going to Disney World, it's going to be during the spring break week, so we know it's going to be busy again.
Yeah.
We probably won't be doing Genie Plus because we're going with a bigger group.
Mm-hmm.
And we just don't, it's going to be 10 of us total. And
that's a lot of money.
For us, it's not too bad, right? But for a family of 8,
that's too much money.
That's too much money. So what we might try to do, and I think this episode will post before or while we're there, so I don't think it'll be a spoiler.
Yeah.
We might pay for for all of us to go on a couple rides, like Rise of the Resistance.
Mm-hmm.
That way we can all go and not have to wait too long. But we'll see how that goes if we can get them.
Yeah. So our friends that we're going with, they are Star Wars fans. We've ridden Rise of the Resistance. They have not. So I think that would be an amazing gift to them if we can get it.
Yeah. And what's funny is we've only ridden Rise on the West Coast. We did not ride Rise on the East Coast.
Right.
Because when we went, again, it was busy.
It was like a 3-hour wait. Yeah, we're not doing that.
And I'm like, I'm not waiting that long in a line.
Yeah.
So we definitely have a lot of things in Disney World that we have not done yet that we cannot wait to do. And so I think like I said, our experience with Disney Genie Plus, we don't have a full experience and a full understanding and really a lot of value. Yeah. I guess you could say that we could share with you guys on do's and don'ts. Because we are more familiar with Disneyland. Mm-hmm. When we did go, obviously it was our second time using Genie Plus just in general, but because it's at parks that we kind of know like the back of our hand, it was a little bit easier for us to do. It also wasn't that busy. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was crowded, but we went in the beginning of February, which is a good time to go. Mm-hmm. Lower crowds, just in general, even pre-COVID. And I would say for the rides, for the time that we went, it almost wasn't worth it. Mm-mm. I don't feel like it saved us that much time, but I think this is the purpose. The purpose of Genie Plus Lightning Lane was to be able to not have to wait in a line. Mm-hmm. And that's what we were able to do with Genie Plus here. I mean, everything that we wanted, we could book right now. Yeah. Like, everything that we wanted. I mean, I think there was only maybe 1 or 2 things that were pushed a few hours ahead. And that was, I think, Indiana Jones.
Soaring.
And Soaring. Yeah, in California Adventure. Maybe not Laugh Factory.
The Laughing
Monsters
Tour?
Inc. Monsters Inc. Right. Mm-hmm. I think might have been pushed out.
But only a little bit, maybe an hour.
Yeah, it wasn't too long at all. Everything else that we wanted, I mean, we literally could have booked anything we looked at like 10 minutes from now. Yeah. And I think that's what Genie Plus is supposed to be. And obviously, the more people that are in the parks, the more crowded it is. It's going to push more people to be like, I don't want to wait in these crowds. I'm going to buy Genie Plus, which then makes the Genie Plus lines longer. Which then in turn makes the standby lines longer. Yeah. So it's a hard balance. Yeah. And when you go to the parks, especially Disneyland, and really Disney World, anyone, it's going to really depend on the crowds, the crowd level. For us, when we went for rides specifically, it didn't save us that much time. On a few rides, it did. But I mean, when we started our morning, we knocked out like 4 rides within like an hour and a half. Yeah. I mean, we did Jungle Cruise, Indiana Jones, Thunder Mountain. Pirates, then Thunder Mountain. No.
We didn't do Thunder Mountain.
Winnie the Pooh, sorry. Winnie the Pooh.
Thunder Mountain was closed.
Thunder Mountain was closed. Yeah, it was down all day that day. I think it was open in the morning, and then by the time we were heading that way, it had closed. And when I kept looking, it never came back up. Yeah. Which is a little bummer. That's my favorite ride. But I mean, we did 4 rides, and in like an hour and a half. I mean, it was amazing. And actually, we didn't even use Genie Plus for those rides. No, we just did them back to back because there wasn't a reason to. Yeah, right? And
the longest wait was Pirates because Pirates broke. Yeah, but they fixed it while we were in line. So that was, and the longest, probably 20-30 minutes we waited. It wasn't even like anything crazy. So,
and I didn't book one for Indiana Jones because where the Lightning Lane queue meets the standby queue, you're not saving hardly any time at all.
Yeah. And
so instead of booking one right away, I could have, right? But to me, it didn't make sense, right? Because I was like, okay, let's do Jungle Cruise. And then I forget what I booked with the Lightning Lane. I don't remember what it was now. But I booked something, later. Knowing that, okay, I want that for that time. And then, we'll just do standby for Indiana Jones. And sorry for the pause there. I'm trying to think what else we did, but we got to ride just about everything we wanted.
Everything that was running.
Everything that was running. Yeah.
Everything that was open that we wanted to ride, we were able to ride. And that wasn't with Genie Plus, but we happened to have it that first day.
Yeah.
And then the next days we did not get it.
Yeah. So, there's a caveat to that, right? So at Disneyland it's $20, so it's a little bit more expensive per day. And I'm not sure if that's because there's only 2 parks and the parks are in closer proximity.
Yeah. I
don't know. But the one thing about Disneyland Genie Plus that Disney World does not have is Photopass. And I'll let you talk a little bit more about that.
Okay. Because it was my favorite thing. I've never really gotten Photopass before because for Disney World, it's like $150 or something. It was really pricey. So when it was only $20 and they took all these cute pictures of us, I was like, that's totally worth it. So we did end up buying Genie Plus just for me. And then we used my app for all the pictures that we were able to take. And it's just really simple. So all those iconic pictures, like in front of the castle, in Cars Land, I think there's some in Star Wars Land in Batuu. There's all these cute little places that you can have a Disney photographer take pictures of you. And now with $20 a day, you can have all those pictures. I was able to just download them onto my phone, and so I can go and have them printed. All your ride pictures. That's how we were able to get our really cute Cars picture. Yeah. Even if one of those pictures came out cute, I would say it's worth the $20.
Yeah, because even if you just wanted to buy one ride picture, how much was it when we bought the one at Disney World? It was like $20.
I think it was $26.
$26, yeah. So
for one ride picture.
Now obviously it's a little more expensive at Disney World, but for Disneyland, buying the pictures is about the same price. So just buying Genie Plus, and the nice thing is, you don't have to buy it for everyone in your party.
Nope.
You have one person in your party buy it, but you just make sure that anytime you do take a picture, that's the person who scans their phone or eventually once they get the magic bands at Disneyland, right? I'm sure you can scan your magic band there and it'll go to your account too. You make sure that person is the one that's scanning everything, so all the pictures are on there and can be downloaded.
Yeah. So. But
yeah, just for that alone, buying Genie Plus at least for one person in your party for your whole entire family or your whole group to use, to me it is definitely worth it.
Yeah, and also just another thing with the Photopass, it's not, sometimes they do have specialty photos. So like at Adventures Campus, they actually tell you to look a certain way, and they're gonna put things in your picture. I don't want to spoil it too much for those of you who are going to go, but basically they will put characters in your picture. And they just, for us, the majority, I'm going to say like 90% of the pictures came out really cute. Yeah. There's some duds in there, but 90% of the pictures came out cute. And we do have some of those specialty pictures. Some of them are up on our Instagram account, so if you want to look at them. But so for Disneyland, so my thoughts on Genie Plus are, for Disneyland, it's only worth it because of Photopass.
Yeah. And like, so for our upcoming trip, we mentioned this in our last episode, we're doing back-to-back, like, which is the first time I remember doing this, and I'm so excited. So we're going back-to-back Disney World to Disneyland. Yes. And again, the only reason we're able to do this is because we had a big trip planned to Japan, and we couldn't go because, there's no, it's only business travel. available to Japan. So we were like, well, what can we do? Well, we wanted to kind of start this Disney YouTube channel and podcast. So why not use those funds to enjoy Disney a little more? And we're going to go back to back Disney World and then right to Disneyland. And it works out good because they have the 2 festivals. And it is going to be spring break time. So maybe that once we've experienced spring break at Disney World and Disneyland, because the parks will be a little bit more busy at the same time, we'll have a better idea of is Genie Plus worth it
or not
at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Because maybe with the crowds and Genie Plus, maybe it'll be worth it. But for our experience, it definitely is beneficial for the rides, but it didn't save us a ton of time.
Yeah.
And so something I had mentioned earlier, I was talking to someone on our social media account, our Twitter account, and they said that they had saved a total of 6 hours at Disneyland using Genie Plus.
Wow.
And I didn't do the math, but the time that we would have saved on each ride, I don't think would have been 6 hours.
No.
I mean, maybe 2 to 3 hours, maybe, right? And that's probably being overly conservative with the wait times, because I mean, honestly, anything we wanted, with the exception of Soaring and Monsters Inc., those we booked, and we booked for later.
What about Rise?
Rise I bought.
Oh, so that's different.
Yeah,
okay.
right. That's not part of Genie Plus. That's Extra Light Lane.
Okay.
And that one, I knew I didn't want to wait in line for that.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to ride it because we didn't get to ride it at Disney World. So I went ahead and paid the extra $20 a person for that.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really count. But that one I booked for later too.
Okay.
But I think I booked that a different day, right? Wasn't that our last day?
I think that was our last day.
Because I was like, well, we're not buying Genie Plus that day. We bought it only for you. So instead of buying it for me, I ended up just putting that towards, that. But overall, I didn't save us that much time. Now, I'm not saying, again, like it's not beneficial. It's really going to depend on when you go. So that's why I'm going to recommend, I think it's possible to be worth getting. It's going to depend on when you go. But don't buy it ahead of time. Because if you buy it with your tickets, you have to buy it for each day. Every person for your party for each day. Right? So I would wait until the morning of, the day of, to see how busy the parks are looking. And then from there, kind of decide, do you need it or not? And so that's my best advice for Genie Plus. I think it can be a useful tool. I know it's a kind of a tough situation because, these things used to be free, right? And so having to pay for this, is not fun. But it's just the times we're living in, everything's going up, everything's expensive, and things are always going to get changed like that. And so just using it to the best of your abilities and figuring out what works for you and your group each time. Because maybe you go and you're not big on the rides. You don't need to get Genie Plus. If your focus is only rides, it might be worth it, and you can time it right. You can really make good use of Genie Plus at Disneyland and Disney California Adventure. At Disney World, to me it doesn't seem, with the exception of Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom seems to be the only park where I would recommend buying Disney Genie Plus every day. The other 3 parks, right now, I could not recommend buying them for each day. I mean, would you agree?
I would agree with that. Hollywood Studios, I thought that was a waste for us, like a complete and total waste. We did not buy it for Epcot, so I'm not sure, but Epcot also doesn't have that many rides, so it doesn't seem that worth it to me. And then Animal Kingdom, I just kind of feel like if I'm going to do Genie Plus, then I'm just going to buy the one ride that I want, which is the Pandora, the Flight of Passage, which I've never ridden, so I don't even know if that's going to... Everyone says it's awesome, and everything I've seen on YouTube, it looks awesome, so that one I would probably just pay the Lightning Lane to get on it. But as far as getting Genie Plus for the day, I don't think it's worth it. But we'll see after our next trip and see if we want to do it or not.
Yeah, so we may have to do an updated review of it, but we'll see. Genie Plus, so we'll see. So again, make sure you're subscribed. If you enjoy this content, please give us a thumbs up. We really appreciate it. does help our show grow. But anything else you wanted to share on Genie Plus? I think we covered everything for our experience.
From our experience, that was our experience. Like Shane said, make sure that you need to evaluate it for the time that you're going, the size of your group, the cost, all of those things you need to take into consideration for your individual circumstances. So this is just our experience that we're sharing with you, and then based on that, you guys can make your own call of whether or not you want to pay for it. But that's our experience, and make sure you leave us some comments down below and let us know what you thought of Genie Plus. Do you think it's worth it? Do you think it's better in Disney World or Disneyland? Just let us know down in the comments.
Yep. And be sure to follow us on our social media, Instagram, @the Happiest Mouse. And until next time, stay happy, friends.